content is for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Gorin Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom! Welcome. Good morning, GM.
Got a crew today. Holy cow!
We got This is a party. I don't think since we started the live stream have we done a proper kind of panel hang session like this. So I'm super stoked. We've got a great crew on, and you guys, everyone who's watching probably knows Turf already. You know, you've heard us talk about Racino, and you've seen Lorenzo here in the past. But we haven't had Stache on since sort of the restart, but we've had Stache on in the past when I was doing other streams and things. So first, before we jump into everyone, what's up, Stache?
Yo, we're hanging. Yeah. We're doing it, man.
We're doing it. I'm so.
It's been a long time. It's been too long.
I know it's been.
Nobody even knows. Like, people have been watching your channel, but I don't know how long. If you kept doing streams, maybe they're watching and they're like, I don't know who this guy is. I'm like, bro.
It's what's nuts about it is that, like, when we were doing the blockchain and booze thing, which started because of COVID, and having a hang session just once a week with people because we were all in lockdown, turned into like over 2 years of a stream every Tuesday. Basically, it was every single Tuesday until we just stopped, right? Like, and it was into the couple hundred, I think. Or no, it was well over 100, but it was like almost 3 years or almost 4 years. I don't remember how long we did it for. And what's crazy about it is I had a conscious moment of doing the stream where I got a little bored. We had been doing it for like a year, and we're coming up on episode number 69. And I remember literally going, I got to make this weird or stop doing it because it's not fun anymore. And so I remember episode 69, I had you and Ken Bozak on, and I recorded the theme song playing a guitar. And it was the weirdest episode so far. Good. And then I tried to keep it weird. I feel like we need to do that again here, to be honest.
You got too many devs and VCs on this call already, man. What are you doing?
I know that's it. We got to get weirder. I got to make it animated too. Maybe, I had we would use the ape a lot more often back then. But Stache, just for people who don't know, is an OG in the space. He's been streaming crypto games and gaming and everything that goes along with Web3 since before anyone figured out if they could even earn a living doing it, if it was even a thing yet, right?
Oh, that was years before that we even had a term of like playing and earning. I mean, years, bro. We're talking about 2017.
Yeah. And not just like playing and earning, but just like knowing that it even existed. And we were talking about stuff back then because, like, you were one of the first. I remember running into you, not even at one of our events, but a different event in LA. Like, we just like bumped into each other, and you were passing out NFTs. Right? Trying to. You had to convince people to like get the Trust wallet on their phone or whatever. It was
hard in 2018. It was so hard.
Dude, I had at the time, I think I had 2 NFTs. One was yours. And what's funny is I don't know if I have access to that Trust wallet anymore. I've got to figure it out and see if I could get back to it. But then there was I bought an NFT, not like that it was expensive or anything, for, of course, $4.20 for Ken Bozak as the Ken Bozak support badge or whatever. But those were the 2 NFTs, first ones that I actually got. But even back then, some people were talking to us about NFT ticketing and all these things. And it was so freaking early, right? And but cut to today, we've got some real stuff going on, and you stream it all the time. So tell everyone, just obviously follow Stache on Twitter at CryptoStache, but you still do multiple streams a week, right?
Yeah. Almost every day, man. And you know, when just kind of touching on those NFTs, it's funny. Yeah, it's like it was really hard in the beginning. Nobody wanted them, and then they explode in 2021, and now they're over. That's it. So it was quick.
How dare you?
Fun,
They are not over. Not yet,
sir. Sir, the charts would say different. Do you own a Bored Ape?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, right. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. It's still the same Bored Ape.
Did you buy it? Did you buy it within the first few months of dropping?
Hey,
I hope so.
Go ahead and put an offer for 100 ETH and see if I sell.
Wait, did you say 0.1 ETH?
No, 100 ETH. Go ahead and put an offer for 100 ETH and see if I sell it.
Oof.
It's like those people, like.
So here's the thing. Not every Bored Ape is created equal. Mine just happens to be better than everybody else's.
Yeah. Well, this guy drank the Kool-Aid, man. Let's get some.
I think most of us did. Well, I definitely did too. But there's other
no.
reasons.
But hold on. No, the reason why I said that though is that you got in right when they first started. I remember it was not that long. It was not right at the drop, but it was still really early. Yeah. And it was like, what did you get in before? It was before 1 ETH.
It was no. Well, I don't remember the price of ETH at the time, but all I remember, I think it maybe was like 2 ETH or something. But I remember it was something like in dollars terms, it was like maybe $4,000 or something. And I remember waking up the next morning going, "Oh, I'm such an idiot! I bought the top." Like that's what I thought I did, right?
Oh,
and then I a couple weeks later felt really good about the purchase, and I still do, because there's so many opportunities and things and other stuff that came because of it.
Well, right, because you got in early. That's what I'm saying. So once again, it's with these NFTs in particular, getting in early that's the alpha, man, because then you're going to get the max benefits. So those early investors got a lot of max benefits, right? And then you say like, oh, okay, if you're buying an ape now, what the hell are you getting? I don't know, some lame ass party with some shit in there.
I bought a kennel dog not that long ago, only got a month or two ago, and I'm using the IP to make a shirt. Just like I make shirts here.
An expensive shirt.
Expensive shirts. No, yeah.
All right. Good luck. Maybe you can sell them at Bored and Hungry if they don't go under.
Yeah. With the new line. What? How dare you? So
man, I'm not happy with Yuga. All right. I look, my big thing was the other side. I love what they were doing, and then they just crushed us on that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, because I'll say what is happening right now, and this conversation even is very indicative to the startup roller coaster in general. And it's more extreme with things like Yuga, because they raise so much freaking money, and there's lots of community members. But we're in a day and time where there's not too much transparency, but there's more transparency than ever. There's never too much, but there's more transparency than ever. So the average person can armchair quarterback every startup that exists out there, right? So if you're an investor like me, right, you've lost your edge if you were just like a traditional VC who raised money from people and invested in certain communities because you were a part of that community. Now you're no different than any of the people who invested in your fund. They're a trip from Twitter away from meeting the CEO of any company they're interested in investing in. So why do they invest in you, right? You have to be different and whatever. In Web3, we're all that person. We're all in the community. But here's the thing. The one thing the VCs, or at least traditional investors, are conditioned to, right, are the roller coaster ride of startups. You know that when you invest in a startup, 6 months from now, there'll be a day where they probably think they're going out of business. And then 2 weeks later, they're on top of the world, the greatest company ever. And then a week later, they feel like they're going out of business again. And this is the normal thing. So when there's liquidity, it's different.
Sir, please.
Okay, go.
I will concede that for a normal startup, right?
Yes.
A startup that is trying to get funding, but a company that has $400+ million to work with, but can't squeak out a game that literally a solo dev could have put together in fucking 2 years.
Wait, time out.
Come on, man.
Time out. But how long does something like Grand Theft Auto take to build? I mean, some of these
they're not building Grand Theft Auto. They never were trying to build Grand Theft Auto.
I'm just saying though, like they're building a game. I've played it. I've played the game that they built so far. And it's
me too. I played all the iterations. It's not good.
Yeah, so eventually it just has to come out. Now, when it's
I think
they basically abandoned that shit. And there's like, we're just going to turn it into a UGC platform we'll give you guys a bunch of shitty assets, and then you just make whatever you want. Look, now we did something.
Yeah.
But I thought that was the plan. Was the plan from the beginning, was to allow like a Roblox style environment where anyone can build a game and anyone can come in and play. Was that not the plan?
No, that was not the plan. No, the other side was supposed to be like a mass multiplayer social experience, and they never really talked that much about UGC. Right? It was never like just, it was always, we're building the other side. And they had events leading up to it. I bought NFTs because I wanted to get access to those events, see the cool things they're doing. Like the tech is there, but they just couldn't take it over the line, man. I mean, sure, maybe at some point, the UGC stuff will pay off, but I just, there's so much competition already in that category. Yeah. And what they're doing is not going to pull kids from Roblox. Like smoking monkeys, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not. Well,
literally, I
don't know who's going to play this.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, so here's how I feel about some of it too. So I think that Rankin is right in some ways, but Stache is right in probably most ways, and we have a little emotional attachment to it. But this is why Stache is Stache, and why he's the man is. One of the things that I was even telling the guys before, but would be good to say, we had a conference, right? I was helping run a conference. And when I ran that conference, I remember having to say no to people who wanted to sponsor the conference because they were shilling some token that seemed shady, or they couldn't answer basic questions to their startups. And people were mad at me. They're like, I'll give you $10,000 just like somebody else who's sponsoring the conference. Let us on stage. And we'd be like, you can't be on our stage because my reputation is kind of tied to the people on the stage, and I'm not going to let you be on the stage. And Stache is I think very similar in that I've seen companies go, we want to pay you to be on the stream, or we want to do this, and he's just like, no, your game sucks, or this is not right. And he's always going to be his honest self, and that's why we love him. And he knows more about this category than I definitely do, so I listen to what he says, and he's right.
Look, we just hit a pain point here. Yuga had everything. Like everything any startup would ever want. Everything. Like no wanting for anything of any of the categories that you need to be 100% successful in the industry. And like, where are we now? What are they doing? Like they have like
I think they can turn
version 2. Like
I think they can.
Like,
I think they can turn it around. I think if they focus, and especially, I think where the thing will be is they're not going to compete with Roblox anytime soon, right? Because they're not going to steal the kids or even the adults away from Roblox or the game developers. Because I've had the conversation, I've told people about this a bunch of times, but like had the conversation with my nephew who makes good money developing on Roblox and doing stuff there. Yeah. And I went, hey, build for Web3. I'll pay you to do it. Build for this thing, build for that thing. And he just goes like, no. And I go, but you complain about Roblox all the time. You say they take too much money from you. They don't treat the developers right. Like all the stuff that like everybody hates about like Apple and the App Store.
And they're still on the App Store.
Right. Of course. You know why? Right. Because when I asked my nephew, he goes, but that's where the users are. And I go, but build here. He goes, but that's where the users are. Stop building it. But that's where the users are. Right.
That's all that matters.
True, right.
He's smart. How old is that kid?
He's 16. The dude is a rock star.
He's going to be a multimillionaire by the time he's 21, bro. Are you kidding me? He already has. He already understands more than like 98% of founders in the Web3 space. Founders in the Web3 space, right? Or startups, whatever you want.
Well, let's so anyway, I think that's a huge.
All right, enough about Yuga. Yeah.
But let's go.
I can shit on them all day. I can shit on them all day, guys. But I won't.
Hey, and you know what? I think we'll do follow-ups. I think that when other side actually opens up to community, that's when they have the real chance to. I want to know, like, if I build a game there, can I get people to play? Will there be people playing? I think
there's other UGC games that are in crypto, and none of them are doing well.
Well,
I think Sandbox not doing well.
Here's my feeling.
Nifty Island not doing well. Like
I don't know much about Nifty Island yet, but to go back to the kind of like the Sandbox and Decentraland, those folks, the first kind of wave of those.
Yeah.
Those guys, I think their biggest problem was we have a way to generate a lot of revenue today. So we're going to sell the land and all that stuff. Now that they sold the land, a part of their ethos and their thing is that to build on this, to do something here, you have to own land. And imagine explaining to a game developer on Roblox, most of which are either young people or people in other countries and other places, saying, go experiment here, start a game. So many of them are very simple and easy, or at least they start that way, right? And they go out and they experiment. But imagine telling any of those developers, hey, before you start, buy this thing. You have to buy this thing from us, even if it's $100. It's not true.
No, you can you can build the game and get it all done. You don't have to own land until you're ready to actually publish it on the experience store.
Okay, but still,
that's a
hurdle to even begin.
It is 100%. It's kind of like prepaying, right? So whereas if you have a Roblox game and they're like, oh, we're going to take 45% or what, I don't know what it is. We're going to take X% from you for every transaction and everything you do for the entirety of this game, right? So you're paying as you go. Or you're paying in advance, right? So you can pay, and now the disparity there, it could be there. Now I'm not saying it's not a hurdle; it totally is. It's a bigger hurdle, but you may end up paying less in fees over time if you're successful. Theoretically, now Sandbox is not really doing that, but theoretically, that is the theory there, right? That's the theory there.
You know, it's the thing is that they don't have the users. They have to do the opposite, right? They have to be incentivizing people to come. And if I just know, especially as a young person who $20 to go to the movies is something I have to bum off my parents, imagine saying you have to buy this piece of land.
You can get a movie for only $20 now? I thought it was
exactly.
Like 30 or 40. What?
Just for one kid. Let's not, talk about popcorn.
Kid
right?
price, right.
Exactly. But that's I think one of the biggest issues with it. Of course, every other Web3 issue then exists up front for anyone wanting to learn and go. But again, that's not where the people are. So we have to find a way to bridge the gap and have people be able to potentially graduate sort of from that Roblox or from the other games into Web3. And I think there's going to be some issues there. But
there has to be something there outside of what Roblox offers to attract them, right? And there isn't right now. There's not enough. And the biggest thing is users. If there was like 10 million people playing this, then you'd see people coming in and wanting to do it because they'll see, oh man, there's a ton of competition on Roblox. It's really hard to get seen there. Or I could go to this other platform. Yeah, there's a few less users, but still a lot.
Yeah.
And I have a better chance of making money and being seen there. But yeah, without any users, man, like none of it shit works.
I'm just going to throw out there one of the most underrated games is The Man Who Sold the World in Web3. And none of you probably heard of it, even though I've shielded a whole bunch of times.
Really? I haven't heard of it. And I get alerts. I get alerts to your Twitter, and I still didn't see it.
It has a full in-game economy where you can you go and harvest Bob off of poles on every property has a pole on it. And you harvest Bob, and then your Bob is used to build buildings. You can actually rent and lease out your buildings to other wallet addresses. You can build a building that allows you to build vehicles. The vehicles you can actually sell in the marketplace, buy and sell them. The vehicles allow you to, and it's a simulation of a model of the Earth, a miniature model of the entire Earth. And it is the best game that I've seen done. The graphics aren't the best, but it is the most functioning ecosystem for a game where multiple currencies in game.
But is it like does it have good game mechanics where you're actually like sucked in and keep playing?
You have a gun, you can shoot people.
But no, what I'm saying is that like when I played these Roblox games,
you have vehicles and a gun to shoot people. You don't need anything else.
Look, I play certain games with my kids, and if you explain them out loud, they sound like the stupidest thing in the world. But you play for 10 seconds and you get hooked, and you're invested in it, and you want to keep playing and ranking up and doing it. Like that's the thing about Roblox that I think is the thing that older people go and then but the thing is game mechanics and getting sucked in are more important than graphics. We grew up with N64 came out, now there's the game, the graphics are slightly getting better, and so that was a part of our youth was the graphics are getting better, and then our kids taught us that the graphics don't really mean shit, it's the game mechanics and how you get sucked in. Some games the graphics are important, but like my kids don't go, oh man, you should check out this game, the graphics are awesome. They go, let's play Sisyphus Simulator. What do? You get stronger and you push a rock up a hill. And you're like, this is the stupidest shit in the world. And then four hours later, I'm like ranking up on Sisyphus Simulator with my son try to overpass him because you just get sucked in. And the game mechanics and the
That's like Roblox. My kids sit there and like beating something for an hour because they're getting points.
All right, wait. What's your favorite Roblox game? Alon, what's your favorite Roblox game? Just you have to pick one right now. What is it? You play a bunch. I know you do.
Yeah, I do. You know what? I feel like I gotta
it?
look. It's always things I could play with my kids. So lately, I've been trying to convince them to play the paintball game with me more because that's a fun game for me, and it's like over in 5 minutes, right? So you can kind of like come in and out. But what's your favorite game? Hold on, I got to think about it for a second. But what's your favorite?
There's a lot of good ones. So the one I actually enjoy playing the most is called Mount Everest. And so like it's just like it's like you're climbing Mount Everest kind of. It's like an obby game, right? So you're like a bunch of obstacles, climbing ladders, you fall, you have to get like energy bars, eat like chocolate bars and shit.
Yeah.
That's it. You got to get to like different levels with them. Yeah, it's fun.
I haven't played that one. What I'll say is that like,
oh, you haven't played Mount Everest? Oh, bro, you got to get him on Mount
Everest. I know.
I
gotta go. So
Adopt Me is the other big one. Adopt Me is like
I played that with my daughter. With my daughter lately, the game I play the most is Dress to Impress because she loves it. But it's a little feels awkward as a dude to just go in there because all girls dressing up and there's like not as many outfits for guys and you're like the only dude in it. And now I'm a 41-year-old man, so it just feels weird. But there's like the spray paint game I play with my daughter. We're literally just like painting stuff. She plays more of those games. My son likes the obbies and the other games. I actually I stopped playing it because my kids don't like to play it and I really only play with them. But TDS, the Tower Defense Simulator, that's pretty rad too. I don't know if you've ever played that.
And this is like a good indicator. So you look at this too, and you're like, oh, some of these games are just kind of low quality. Are they really fun? Like, yeah, there's some decent mechanics in there. But the reason why they're playing these games is not necessarily like, yeah, some of the game mechanics, they are fun and they keep them engaged. But really, it comes down to, once again, are your friends there? Yes, everybody's on Roblox.
Everybody.
Literally, like every kid that is below probably 18 at this point is, and above probably has a Roblox account. Maybe they're not playing it now, but they're all on Roblox. They're playing. They're, and that's where they can meet up with their friends. And it just becomes that it's like a social media essentially, right? And to get that like mass, amount of people, like that mass effect is incredibly hard to do, right? Fortnite is kind of like the next level ish of that, right? Where now they're kind of doing the same thing where, UEFN and people are making tons of maps and tons of mods, right? And then they have their own like main game modes, which is interesting. Roblox doesn't really have that, right? So I think that we'll see Fortnite really start to overtake in a lot of ways when it comes to Roblox, because the graphics,
the older age tends to play it a little more because there's more first person shooter kind of thing.
Well, not anymore. But now they have basically Minecraft. I mean, it's Lego Minecraft, which I think is way better. I mean, bro, Minecraft and want it like Lego Fortnite, I'm playing Lego Fortnite, dude. It's way nicer. It's a lot more fun, in my opinion. Like the graphics.
Yeah, well, think about it. My kids. Kids are going back to school, so the numbers are probably getting a little lower. But like, you go into certain games. By the way, my nephew, one of the games he works on is one of the big games on Roblox. He does the sound design for every. He didn't do all of it at the beginning, but now he's been doing it, working with them for probably about a year now. But I'm trying to find it here so that I can tell you how many people are playing it just at this moment. But he does, every time there's a new character added, he does the sound design for Strongest Battlegrounds, which is one of the biggest games. And if you go to it, literally right now at this moment, here's the thing about Web3 gaming. I don't think any game in Web3 gaming has ever actually had the user base that even single Roblox games have. But Strongest Battlegrounds right now at this moment has 150,000 people playing it right now.
Yeah.
Like that's insane, right? Like, just to go back to users, right? We need to get a game that consistently has 100 users, then 1,000 users. Like, people have done it for a moment in time for like, we're dropping.
That game is coming, sir. It's coming.
I hope so. I love it. So let's go back to, okay. So do you know which game it is? Can you say it? What do you?
Do I know which game it is? Please.
You know. Okay, so are you going to tell us? Or are you just going to keep it a secret and we have to follow CryptoStache and find out? There we go. Okay, there's the carrot. So hey, going back to startups, the segue I was going to have before is we have Turf on here. We have Racino on here. I think Turf can help a lot actually with as they grow. getting users to games and stuff. And I know Racino, we actually have a demo to see it. So we haven't even really talked about either, but let's quickly Turf. Dibio, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Turf does, and then we'll do Racino and see a demo, and then we'll go back to talking about all of it and stuff. But tell us what Turf does. I know most people here have seen it, but just in case you're new, there's a bunch of people on the stream. Tell us about Turf.
Sure. Yeah, basically, in a nutshell, I would say Turf is curating the competitive culture in both Web2 and Web3 gaming industry, where we are making sure that all the games that are getting out in the market can be esports ready, and all the tier 2 communities across the globe, let it be anywhere, can host a competition on top of all these kind of games by leveraging and coming into our platform. So we work in both the fronts. First, making games esports ready, and making sure that anyone, let's say even an influencer or anyone, even an individual, can come onto our platform and curate an event, a full-fledged esports competition for any of the games that are integrated with us. So that's the core of what we are doing at Turf. And we are focused around specifically bringing engagement through competitions where we don't say users but gamers.
Love it. And Adi, you just unmuted, so did you want to add to that, or should I keep?
Yeah, sure. So Aaron, just to add to Divya's point, we have while you all were discussing over here, we have games. We have games on Web3, and this is the problem that most of we have seen in this ecosystem is that on Twitter you'll see there are million followers, but the people who are actually playing the game are in single digits.
They bought those followers on Fiverr.
Exactly. So that's the biggest problem. You cannot get gamers on Twitter, on social media. You cannot buy gamers. So passionate gamers come only when they love the game. First and foremost, there is the graphics, right? Obviously, they have to love the graphics. Another thing is the discovery problem. So while the big games like Valorant, League of Legends, they are discoverable in almost all the small, big esports fan-based groups, right? And these groups do exist in almost small, big colleges, schools out there. I have personally gone to different colleges and met these clubs. They're very small, only 10, 15 people. But imagine, entire country having tons and tons of these esports clubs with different names. Guys, they are actually playing these games. So they love the graphics and they love engaging with each other at a micro level. And that's where, I think that's where Web3 gaming ecosystem is lacking. That's where we built Turf, that, we wanted to bridge a marketplace or bring a marketplace where Web3 games can reach out to these esports orgs and get discoverable in the real gamers crowd.
Yeah, well, you guys did the test run with that one mobile game. It wasn't a Web3 game, but you was it a $500 prize was on that competition? You did a $500 prize, and you got 2,000 people to enter, and that was your demo. You haven't even really started yet, or you hadn't yet at the time. So I can only imagine that if I decide, me and CryptoStache we're doing a live stream, we're gonna do a Racino tournament for our people. Everyone join on the same day. Whatever, whoever has the best score, whoever does the best, whatever, we'll put $100 prize. We'll give you $100 worth of Robux, and let's go. And you guys provide the platform to allow for that kind of thing. And we even talked about it last week, where I have we call it the GFL. We have a family fantasy football thing that we do every year that my nephew started years ago, and now we all do it. It's super fun. We're in a group chat, we talk shit. It's super goofy, and nobody takes it too seriously, right? But we do that on a family level. I don't know anybody, unless you're at a party in a moment, we're all gonna play Mario Brothers and have a little tournament or something, but nobody does that right now, as far as I know, right? Maybe in individual games there may be ways to friend each other and stuff, but I don't know of anyone who does that. And I think that micro level is really important for growing things, right? It's like we joked about going and playing a pickup game of basketball at the park. that doesn't exist for esports yet, as far as I know. Stash, do you know any products or things where people can join and play each other or create micro tournaments amongst family, amongst friends, small groups?
Amongst family and friends and small groups, like a turnkey little guy. No, I mean, nothing that I'm like that I've used, personally. Like nothing Web3 is what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like there's tons of like things you could do it, like fantasy anything, right? Fantasy InterX.
Well, like let's say if we like remember like we had our events there at the convention center, like. I remember trying to think about, can we all like go into one room and play some game and do some tournament or do something? You can kind of do that in person, but it's all based on trust and maybe screenshotting scores or doing something, right? Like it would be really cool to be able to do this, not just in person, but also virtually, but like in person, how rad would that be if we met at like some event and we get maybe even informally, like everybody come hang and do this tournament while we hang at the cafeteria of the convention center and just take over would be so rad. And I think this enables those kind of things. And
well, so thinking about that idea, like there are multiple Web3 based tournament platforms that you can use for running tournaments for games, but they have like instant Web3 payouts and et cetera, et cetera. But I think I think kind of what Alon was talking about, like an interesting thing, something that is, whereas like, oh yeah, everyone's like, we want to get the esports guys, the esports crowd coming in, like, okay, that's great. It's a hard crowd to win over, man. But the casual crowd is really where a solution probably is going to benefit. Like, so I've done, fantasy leagues. I've done all kind, and there's some tools out there, but they're just not the best. Man, I was using Challenge for like years, man, and like that platform was complete shit. So like
I think that
a better integrated solution for casuals, that allows you to customize it in a way that could still track the game. But then, once again, as it comes down to like integrations, that becomes hard because then you need APIs that call that shit up, or you have to do a custom integration with the API. And like, so really the big problem is standards.
Yeah.
That is a main problem that we see with a lot of these, with a lot of like, not just game development, but development in general. Every time in technology and, when it comes to the web, but beyond this too, there's numerous instances of this, right? We're struggling. Something's new, trying to figure it out. Does it work? I don't know. That's Betamax. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, well, the standard is going to be VHS. We've chosen, right? And then things jump ahead very quickly after that. Same thing when you talk about things like, HTTP and, USBs. And I could keep the list goes on. But every time the industry actually figures out a standard, the technology moves so much faster. Right now, everybody in crypto, no matter what industry you're in, they're trying to be the standard. They want to be that standard, and there's still no clear, like there's really no clear standard that was like, oh yeah, this is what everyone uses. Like an Ethereum ERC kind of turnkey contract is the closest we've had, in my opinion. But this becomes the issue: is that everyone wants to build their own little solution, and they're all siloed. Right. And so you end up with a bunch of solutions that could be good, but they don't interact with each other. There's no interconnectivity because everyone wants their solution to be the solution.
Yeah.
But this industry really is not going to leap forward into mainstream in a really big way until we set some inter-blockchain standards, right? Standards that can be used no matter if you're EVM compatible or if you're, if you're not, right? I think that those will really help push all this forward. And that goes into gaming development too, right? So you talk about industry standards for gaming development. You have basically UE, and then you got and then everybody else, right? but like Unreal Engine has become a pretty big standard, right? And they are like, in comparison to some of the other development engines, like they've really pushed that and have done a good job. And so like there needs to be still competition with those things, but at some point, you got to say, this is the best tool. Is Unity the best tool? For some things, but once again, industry standards, and once those hit, everyone's using it and makes it easy. And that's what, like, when you see UEFN, we were just talking about that earlier, it makes it easy because it's all one standard. You know, all the assets are interoperable, all the game modes are interoperable. You go onto the platform. Same thing with Roblox, right? You're going in there. They have their own standard.
I think it's what I try to explain to people all the time when it comes to either the different chains or anything, right? Like you go to, there's different reasons why people pick different maybe programming languages, right? Like, but at the end of the day, some things you have different feelings and whatever, but it has to work, let's say, on mobile. So you figure out how to make it work on mobile. But even within mobile, there's, you know, JavaScript, HTML5, CSS, all the different things you have to interact with and whatever behind the scenes to make shit work. You have to make it work on iOS. You have to make it work on Android, right? And you can kind of start with one, move to the other, but you're wrapping whatever programming language or thing you have to make it work in that environment or whatever. It's kind of similar to, like, again, to go to the Roblox environment. You can ask any developer, right? And we used to do this. Like, I used to build enterprise software, right? And one of the categories of people we wanted to sell that enterprise software to was like major financial institutions. We had Amex as a client at one point, and that was like one of the goals, is those type of people. When my CTO said, we're going to build our product on .NET, every single engineer, including him, like outside of this decision, thought that was the stupidest freaking idea in the world because it's the shittiest programming language. It's so old school. It's the worst, right? Yeah, and everyone agreed. Everyone agreed. So when we were hiring people, they were like, why the fuck are you doing that? That's crazy. This is the worst programming language, whatever. And the reason had nothing to do with the programming language. The reason was, if you're selling to Amex, when you tell them we're building on the Microsoft stack, they took that more seriously, and they were able to make that decision more easily, because in their minds, even though it almost never happens, they go, oh, if shit hits the fan, I can pick up the phone, call somebody at Microsoft and be like, help us, right? And they knew exactly what to do. But if you used the open source programming du jour, right? You use Ruby on Rails at the time or whatever, developers liked it better, Python, whatever thing they were into more, they would have thought that was better. You would have been more easily able to hire people. But what does Amex do when shit breaks? They go into the message boards and be like, Python stash 1, 2, 3. Can you help me out? Like, they don't know what to do. They don't exist in those worlds, right? So sometimes not the best platform, or not the best programming language, or not the best blockchain because of technology wins. It's kind of like Roblox. This is where the users are, or this is where this category is, or this is what makes sense business decision for my certain category, right?
I mean, I would somewhat agree with you on that one, but you know, if really it just comes down to like who's going to support us when we need help, like that's something that the developer, that was solution provider is going to give you. Hopefully, is like that's contract. That's one. You don't build that in, you're losing money.
Yeah, well, that's one reason why you might choose one over another. But like, for example, there's lots of people, you mentioned the ERC contracts are essentially the closest thing to an industry standard. And there's lots of people who've built other layer ones or other technology that claim to be, and they might be better, faster, different from Ethereum, but people aren't going to probably use that anytime soon, because there's already the engineers, whatever, building on Solidity, building here, whatever. I don't know if that's true or not, but I bet there's other game engines or technology you've seen, Stash, that at least on a quick, due diligence looks and seems better than some of the things other people are using, but they're using the other ones because of pre-built environments, different tooling, whatever thing they already are using it, and they've been using it for a year. Right. So they're
accessibility that becomes a big thing, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like that, when I referencing back again to Unreal Engine, the accessibility is unreal. They make it stupid simple to build on there. They don't charge you up front. You know what I'm saying? They have a million tools and tutorials. There's, because there's just so many people using it. So this community is big. And that way it allows you to use that in the long term and not feel like, oh man, I'm going to use some maybe the technology is better, but no one's using it. No one talks about it. There's no support for it. There's not a community really behind it. So why go that route?
Exactly. It's kind of like
Right now,
AWS.
I remember like while I was building on Tezos, Michelson was the programming language. It was incredibly tough for new developers to get onboarded with Michelson as such. Uh, industry has matured a lot. So I also developed a compiler for from JavaScript to Michelson, where any of the developers just has to write a JavaScript code because JavaScript is the most used by the developers. So they can easily write JavaScript code and they can deploy. It gets compiled into Michelson and that gets deployed on the chain. So I feel the industry has matured a lot on programming language part of view, and it's easy right now. There are so many compilers that can compile JavaScript or Python code if you're a Python coder as such into the relative language, and you can easily deploy it on chain.
Yeah,
One of the things is that one of the questions that Stash mentioned that is there are so many APIs and different stuff that we have to do in order to integrate, right? So, for example, if I take Lorenzo's Racino, right? What we have figured out is that there is an overlay that we have to develop. All we have to do is just deploy that overlay onto the relative mobile device, and that catches all the relative event that is going on, and then it kind of decides based on that whether or not that particular gamer what exactly his or her stats are, and it gives a decision points based on that. So yeah, that's pretty much.
So it can live on top of a game, so it's less work for the game to integrate in with you guys. It's more you guys configuring your overlay to grab the stats and do what you need to do.
However, cool. I feel, Alan, like right now what I see is the Web3 industry has matured, but still has to mature because onboarding was one of the biggest hurdles. Biggest hurdle right now, still it is that a gamer does not like to save these many keys onto his device. The entire
nobody likes to do that.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why adoption is a bit slow.
I 1,000,000%. You know what? We should segue into actually, the one person who has a game on here right now, unless you count my Roblox games, which we should do a stream where we play the Punk Ape Strong Roblox experience that I built one day. Let's do that. That'll be fun. I need to add more actual gaming mechanics to it other than collecting some badges, but it'll be fun. But Lorenzo, you should tell us a little bit about Racino. We should and also I'd love to see a demo because I know it's already working and out there and people are playing it. So but tell us about Racino. We've gone way too long into the stream without hearing about it.
I threw something up on the screen. I don't know if anyone could see it. We made this for Stash.
Let's share it.
Oh dang. Look at that.
Cool little teaser.
Secret agent Stash.
Yeah.
It's hot.
We did this. We did like a KOL race. So it's funny. We actually spoke to tons of different individuals, and everyone kept saying, we kept asking like, who should we work with? They're like Stash, and then it would happen like 3 out of 4 people. They're like Stash. Like we gotta get him. And I made a GDC, I think, and then we talked and we made it happen. That was cool.
And then you didn't rig the race so I could win, man. I think I got like 6, bro. Come on, man. It's disappointing.
A few people told us that too.
Integrity.
Yes.
I walked the line
maybe
on
you
that
shouldn't.
One.
Maybe you shouldn't have sucked at racing. Right? So.
I didn't have any control over it. I mean,
that's it. Well, I don't know.
I'm ready.
Actually, show us how it works, Lorenzo.
I like that controller. No, it's funny. Everyone always thinks that. Not everyone. When we weren't really marketing, like, oh, cool, I love to race this, right? I love to actually control it. And that's obviously the opposite of what you do in Racino. So a lot of people that first come to the game, as you said, to people, the onboarding experience was extremely difficult in all the other games, especially that we played for research and development purposes. More so for us, it was easy, like sign up with email. We auto create the wallet on the spot. We just thought that was the best possible experience, and claiming something for free while also having digital assets integrated. So there's digital assets in Racino, cars, helmets, race suits, ownable, tradable on a marketplace. But also when you actually get onboarded into Racino, you can just claim a trial car, which is a free car, right? So the experience is sign up with email, right? You don't have to purchase anything. You could claim a car and you could start racing right off the bat. So
cool. And then take a step back and explain, because I kind of even implied when I joked that Stache sucked at racing. You don't actually race. It's more about configuring the car and setting it up, and then allowing the kind of simulation to run, right?
Okay, yeah. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with some of the games out there. They're more so just simulation related. That you've probably seen more like horse racing style or dog racing style, stuff like that. We more built it to a realistic racing experience. So we actually hired a Formula One engineer, a 21-year vet, and he's worked with McLaren. He worked with Mercedes. He was actually one of the head of aerodynamics for some of these teams. And he built a really cool algorithm that was all realistic to racing data. So real weather conditions, real racing parts. So if you go to your garage, this is one of the NFT cars, not the trial car. This is kind of the livery, which we showed Stache, and I think we have one for DGB too that you can actually apply to your car here, which are digital assets. But all these parts are realistic to real life: front wings, rear wings, engine coolings, and so forth. And then we kind of explain basic information on how that part actually works. Each car has a small differential on how they're different. So it doesn't mean that one car is necessarily one of the same. It kind of prevents from, not necessarily, ties happening, but at the same time, all cars have some type of variation, which makes them a little bit better in certain conditions or better on certain tracks. So you have to start to learn about your car. But again, it's not a pay to win game. It's more so fully skill based. We have to understand it. So we have the trial races, which are the free races. And then we also have, as you can see, people actually racing. There's 13 total people in this race, which is cool, all trial cars. And then we also have the paid races, which we have different tiers: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. So as you can see, there's a $13 prize pool here. So 3 people are in this race. The first place would get $7.25. The second place would get $5.75. Third would get $0. We have a cool distribution model, but all this is paid out in USDC, so fully stable. We talk to a lot of different games and obviously tokenomics and mechanics, and we think that's just a completely different business model.
Do you like pay to get in a race? Where does that prize pool come from?
Yeah, exactly. So what happens is you actually purchase tickets, which are the entry fee. The reason why we went the ticket route is because it's actually purchasable with credit card as well to potentially onboard, let's say, Web2 users. So all the way from signing up with an email to either claiming a car for free to purchasing these tickets with a credit card or crypto, it's fully applicable to a Web2 or Web3 player. So let's say I wanted to purchase tickets with the USDC on my account. I have $53. I could purchase 3 tickets for $15. Each ticket is $5, and these are your entry fees into the races. So there's no connect your wallet, transfer funds, use those funds directly to get into the race. We try to make it a little bit more simplistic than a lot of the games out there. But again, yes, those are the entry fees into the race to actually get in, if they're free races or paid races. So this would be, for example, a paid race. I'll enter into this one and then cancel it because I can't actually enter into the paid races. But as you can see here, there's all the different parts you can actually apply to your car. Front wings and rear wings are more so in the non-advanced tiers. When you move up into higher tiers, you get more access to other parts. But here would be, paid race. You enter with 1 ticket, and then it would explain that you enter into the race and show you all the different conditions that are based on that race. So again, all realistic to real life. Let's say it was, soft rainfall. Maybe you don't decide to select wet tires and you decide to select, let's say, soft tires, right? Here's the 2 parts that I applied to the car. So a front wing and then a certain rear wing. These are specific to the bronze tier. If you're in platinum tier, you would have tons of other parts, but we also give you some type of understanding of where you should tune your parts and then show you a little gamified mechanic on how your car might perform in the race. So I just entered into a race and then the race would simulate. It's a little bit blurry when I showcase it on the screen when I stream, so I won't show the race, but I'll post one after Twitter and tag all of us so everyone can see it, but my computer won't probably showcase it when I stream. But that's kind of the overall game. Once the race is completed, we show you a performance history on how your car actually performed. So if you go to, let's say, the race results of a certain race, we'll show you your performance against another individual. So as you can see here, this car started in 2nd place. He finished 1st. I finished 2nd. We showed the comparison of parts, tires, and then also how I performed with a little bit of insight from someone we call Adriana, which we're working in AI here to start to provide more of an analysis to allow people to understand their cars better. So it'll also show you the results of the individuals that were in the race as well, and the points that they earned and the funds that they earned. So that's a majority of Racino. Hope I didn't go too fast, but I know we have a little bit of time here.
Yeah, it's super cool. So when you say like you do, the more races you go, you rank up so you can start having more parts and things like that. Like, do the prize pools change, or like is it more just about being able to get more and more advanced?
Yeah, so the prize pools change based on the tiers. So the first tier, which is bronze, is just one ticket, and then we start to have higher entry fees based on the tiers that you actually rank up in, and then we start to boost those prize pools based on the higher the entry for the tiers as well. So we're looking into, as you guys said, like incentivizing, higher prize pools in the beginning. I think you were talking about the esports realm. We've noticed that even in trial, the trial tier, we've just been incentivizing the top 10 daily individuals on the leaderboard with one ticket and then converting them over to a paid user. So there's a lot of different, I guess you could say, points that you can earn in the game to then earn other additional rewards. So we've learned that incentivizing the user right now is really important, and then converting them to a paid user has really helped us to grow the user acquisition.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. And then, yeah, so this is more of a, again, like a simulator of all about setting up your card to perform against the elements and all this stuff.
Yep.
Is there, you're looking at this, so is there like other than just being cool and having an avatar, does editing your avatar, like your suit or anything, give you any benefits to racing at all, or is it this part just for fun?
Yeah, so it's more so cosmetic. So we have a few different licenses, McLaren and Alpine, for example, which will be releasing soon. So you can actually apply these different, let's say suits or helmets to your driver. And then there's a low supply, let's say, of the higher tier brand, like an Alpine or McLaren, that will be releasing. So it's a little bit more exclusive. And then we're working with other brands in Web3 to kind of collaborate. Like Stache, we could do a cool hat, right? Or kind of your suit, and then throw it on there, and you could be that individual in game. And similar to like Call of Duty, we've looked at how there's Nicki Minaj or Snoop Dogg, right? Kind of looking to collaborate and integrate different, influencers into the game, and people can actually drive as them. So we're looking at that model, but this is more so cosmetic, and you're just kind of yourself in game or another individual, and you can dress up and look cool.
Sweet. Where can people go to check out Racino a little more?
Yes, you can go to game.racino.io, and then you can actually start playing today. Free races and paid races are available.
So could we, we talked about tournaments like in turf and stuff like that. So people pay to play the game to try and earn a thing, but could we do some kind of tournament where anyone who joins maybe gets like a special single ticket or something? Oh, actually, I see what you're trying to share there. That's a DGB car. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's rad.
So I think realistically, what we could do is so we've ran a few, mini tournaments, and we've noticed that we can definitely do some mini prize pools on our end that we can front, but happy to do some type of tournament involved with turf, Stache and DGB, and we can do some type of mini tournament, maybe 20.
I would think it would be cool to kind of do different tournaments, or the ability to have like a tournament with a community where it doesn't necessarily cost to participate, right? But like maybe there's a prize pool or something, so I could throw a $100 prize or $1,000 prize or something, or maybe I'll throw an NFT out there that people could win, whatever it is, or that can be distributed through turf. But the ability to like host my own kind of fun tournaments, and then obviously for you as the game developer, right? You could think about this. I'm thinking about how it would work for any game, right? Not just Racino, but as the game developer, the ability for people to do that drives people to the game, even if they're not paid users at first, right? It drives them into the game, and then it goes, oh crap, in this tournament, or I won this race, I'd like to pay $5. I'll try to do a thing, and it'll just drive traffic. Because I think the biggest issue with Web3 games is that people have figured out, at least when numbers going up and there's a lot of hype, they figured out how to get people to show up to get the free money falling from the sky. But nobody sticks around because most of the games suck, right? Or they just don't keep you in there. Or there's a new shiny object giving you free money over there, so I'm going to leave, right? But if it's that easy to, like, here's the thing, like my son, like joking about that Sisyphus thing, I join it because he told me to join it, and I'm taking time to play with my kid. But that night, I get into bed with my wife. We're watching stupid TV, right? The fucking housewives are on TV. And I pull out my phone and I look at it and I'm like, I'm going to go on Roblox. And I start fucking playing in bed because the game is actually good, right? Like all of these Web3 games that have had thousands and thousands of users play them would probably still have them if the games, were good. And you've done the job of like, you guys spent months and months, like years getting that game to a certain point before you ever launched it to the Web3 community or to any community. You don't necessarily have to be a crypto person to play it, right? Like you could play with your credit card, you just start earning and playing and whatever. You guys built great game mechanics. And now you're at the point where, bringing users on. There's lots of people in that stage, whether they're in Web3 or not, that I think like, because we're all on the stream together, like Turf could definitely enable, right? So I think it'd be fun to come up with some ideas and do some.
Yeah, let's do a tournament maybe sometime next week if we can make it happen, and we'll do some type of like ticket prize pool giveaway as you said.
I'll throw out a prize or something too.
Yeah.
Just to test. I'm fully conflicted. Everybody knows, we saw the disclaimer at the beginning, but I'm DGB is an investor in both the companies, and on all that, we have Stache on here to give the brutal, honest truth if he doesn't like stuff because he's not.
Wait.
Yeah,
y'all getting paid?
No. Actually, I spent. It's cost me. It costs me. It's actually the opposite. I pay to hang out with these guys, right? It's the way it works, But I think I think it could be super fun. So we should try out all sorts of stuff. And I want to be cognizant of time because it's after 11. I've kept everybody on. Let's do one quick round. By the way, I'm going to do a live stream at some point. Maybe it'll be on this, or maybe it'll be on Stache, or maybe it'll just be a random live stream we do. But I'm going to do Stache. We got to do like at least an hour stream where we just play Roblox together. Like no agenda, was bounce from game to game, or maybe we'll end up in one game just playing for an hour straight streaming. I think that would just be super fun. Couple of old dudes playing Roblox, hanging out with kids and having fun. I'll make it weird.
Speak for yourself, old man.
Have you seen that chain game, like the attached one or something? I forgot.
There are a bunch. So there are like 2-player games. I play with my kids. Yeah, there's an obby where you're attached to each other. Yeah. I just played that with my son.
Basically, this is what happens, right? So like any hit game that is not on Roblox or on UEFN,
yep.
When that game comes out, I'm like, oh my gosh, chained together, it's the latest thing. And then someone quickly goes and builds it on Roblox and on UEFN for Fortnite, and you could play that game on both those platforms still.
Here's the crazy thing.
I'm telling you, it's going to absolve. These things are going to absolve everything because it's so easy to do. It's all about standards.
Well, that's also my feelings too, is that I feel like I always say this to people because they talk about their games, they talk about these things. And one of my go-to, it's a bit shit talking and it's kind of an asshole thing to do, but I always go like, I'm pretty sure that if we locked ourselves in the room from today till like the stream next Tuesday, and we were all on a stream together, we just said, we're going to build a Roblox game, we could do one better, right? Like, and that's part of my gauging how hard or easy what people are pitching me they're doing are. But chained together, by the way, there's 4,200 people playing it on Roblox right now this second, right? Like,
right. The Roblox version.
Game, the Roblox version, and that game by like an experienced Roblox developer probably was built, the first version at least, and then they keep iterating, making it better and different, whatever. A few days, right? Because because it's the Roblox building environment, I always say, is a little bit like WordPress. It's not the best. People will talk shit about it all the time. But if you go online right now and you just Google WordPress, whatever thing you want to build, you will find 20 tutorials and a bunch of versions that are already built that you could edit and start doing. Right?
And that's what I was talking about earlier, is like these platforms, why build on UE5 versus building on CryEngine? You know what I'm saying? Some shit that people aren't using because of that exact thing.
Yep. My kids and I, just to even double down on what Stache just said, we've been playing Brawl Stars, like the mobile app, against each other, and that's a super fun game. My son and I play with each other I went on Roblox with him and I just searched Brawl Stars in the search box. We found like 7 shitty knockoffs of Brawl Stars built on Roblox already. And some of them had a bunch of people playing them. Like it, right now there's 564 people playing a game called Brawl Blocks, which is basically like a knockoff crappy version, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But because once again, why leave your environment? Why leave your social media to go download it on some other platform and have a launcher somewhere, or have to download an exe or whatever it may, just play it on Roblox. It's almost the same thing, and it's in the environment you're familiar with controls you're familiar with, and all your friends are already there.
1000%. So guys, let's give a quick roundabout to, we talked about at CryptoStache. Is there any specific other place to follow you and subscribe to stuff, Stash?
Yeah, YouTube. That's my main platform. So I'm at CryptoStache everywhere you want to be. So you're on X, I'm there. You're on YouTube, I'm there. You're on TikTok, I'm there. Instagram, I'm there.
Boom. I love it. Lorenzo, where's the best place to follow Racino and you?
Yeah, Twitter at Racino Gaming, or X now, considering it, and then going on game.racino.io to play. 2 best places.
Heck yeah. And Turf, guys, where's the best place to follow you? And by the way, you have to claim your Turf ID, right? Because you got to be first and get your name and all your stuff. So make sure you do that, because I always get bummed when I go onto a platform late and some random Israeli or something got the name at Alon, and then I'm pissed off. So I always try to claim it as soon as possible. It's why I don't have it on Twitter, because back in the day when I was one of the earliest users of Twitter, I used to use at Alonymous because I thought that was funny. And then I got mad at myself for not just claiming my first name everywhere. So that's why
same happened to me. Actually, the same happened to me on Twitter as well. Very early on, I wasn't using my full name. I was one of the first users. Like, what was it, 2008 or 7? When it first dropped? 6. I don't. Yeah, and I got like whatever my cool screen name was on MySpace at the time is what I put in or whatever. And then I was like, dang, someone stole my actual name.
Here's nerdy, fun trivia, personal trivia about me. I was working at MySpace at that time, and that I signed.
Is Tom your friend?
He was on MySpace.
He was everybody's friend.
I met him. I know. I met him on an elevator like twice.
He always seemed like a really nice guy. He was. That dude was the most brilliant guy in all social media, because he did his thing. He was everyone's friend, and then he disappeared, and then
he won the internet. That's exactly
he won, bro.
He fucking won. He won. He got a few $100 million and decided, I'm gonna travel the world and take pictures. Like what? That's the like he didn't go start another company, get into the grind. Like the dude just won. He retired, right? Like he retired probably like 30 years old. I don't know how old he was. Man. Like, dude, the guy won. He won. That's it. It's the dream. But Dibio, Adi, where's the best link for Turf and for claiming your ID and all that stuff?
Best place is to go to our website, 0xturf.gg, and you can claim your Turf ID. And we have an upcoming tournament series coming up where you can play a lot of competitions already. So head into our website. You'll be getting a lot. And for any social interactions and follow our updates, we have in Twitter, it's turfgg_, where you can give it a follow to stay tuned what's cooking in.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys hanging for so long in the time. And of course, I appreciate everyone who's on the stream. I never even did it. We jumped right in, but go to dgb.vc, especially if you're an early stage startup and you want to pitch us. We want to be the first check. We want to meet you before you meet anyone else. So hit us up. Come hang with me. Let's do it, guys. Thank you.
Peace, guys.
Peace.